Be careful. Be careful what you ask God for because you just might get it. And when you get it, it may knock you to your core. If you have asked God to use you and put you in a position to where you can use your life to make change, to affect people in a positive way, to change lives. If you have asked God to use the struggles and trials and tribulations that you've gone through in your life as examples, as fuel to your fire to go out and make change and help people and share your story, share your testimony. Be careful what you ask for. Last night I was floored. I'm not going to lie. I was absolutely floored. I went to do my prayer roll call last night, and right as I was going to do it, someone came up. Someone wanted to come live, and it was a regular. It was, one of my guys who comes on a regular basis and talks and, shares his life, and, he's gotten comfortable with talking about things that are personal. And I was tired, I'm like about to get off. It's been a great night, good talking to everybody. This was my live broadcast for The Perfect Mess on TikTok. I was tired, about to end it, wrap it up, and he requested to come live real quick. And it's my guy, man, very, very cool person. His name's Brandon. And Brandon's out of Texas, out in Houston. And he requested to come live, so I stopped the prayer roll call because I was starting to get prayers from everybody just so I can pray for him. That's how I end every live that I do. And so I stopped what I'm doing because I'm like, I got a few minutes for my boy. You know what I mean? So I click accept and, bring him up, and we start talking. And the topic of the night was share some of your victories for the year. Share some things that you accomplished this year, some things that you feel were small or big victories for you this year. Talk to us about them, and why were they victories? And I thought, man, I ain't gonna lie, man, I thought I heard it all. And he begins to tell us about, how he's been. And then he says something that literally floors me. He says, I got to tell you something. One of my biggest victories that I consider a win for me this year was coming across your podcast and your live broadcast right here on TikTok. And I look at the screen, I'm like, man, I appreciate that. I go, well, what do you mean? He says, before I found this podcast, before I found you here on TikTok and your podcast, I was one of those guys who would not speak. I'd hold everything in, and I would just not talk about what was going on in my life. I wouldn't share anything. I would just, if I was going through something, I wouldn't talk about it. And when I came here and I listened to you talk about stuff that I would be terrified to talk about, like, things like your marriage and the things you struggle with, and I watched you be so open and so vulnerable, it encouraged me because I saw you doing that, and something changed in me, something clicked, and I decided that I wanted to go live with you one day. So when you started saying the floor was open, that's when I clicked in, and I opened up one night, and I shared some stuff and I was honest. He goes, and what impresses me about what you do is you never forget our stories. He goes, like, you have mentioned things that I talked about that were personal to me months ago. And you remember them, and you share them, and you talk about them, and you use them as an example when you're referring to something. He goes, I've never been like that. And my life now, like now I'm like that in my everyday life. You got me to open up online to feel comfortable to go live and discuss these topics you talk about every night, and to encourage others to do it. But now it's not just TikTok, it's not just coming live or listening to your podcast. I'm like that in real life. Like, I've opened up. I tell people when I'm not happy about certain things. I tell people when I'm happy. I express myself, and I'm open about it. And my life has changed in that way. And he's like, I got to tell you something that I did, and I owe this to you, because when you started doing your prayer roll call, that's one of my favorite moments of your live when you're done. And I want to tell you why. He's like, you brought up my brother's wedding. And he goes, and you said you were really proud of, like, my speech and everything, because he was nervous about giving a speech. And I told him, don't write anything down. You got to come from the heart. Come from the heart, or it's going to sound scripted. Okay? You don't got to rehearse anything. You make sure everything comes from the heart. And you get up there and you say everything from right here in your heart. He goes, there's something that went on with my brother's wedding. The family was all there, and it started to get really, really crazy. Like the tensions were high. Everybody was like stressed out. And, my parents were there. They were stressed out. My brother was, everybody. He goes, and Ray, I remembered your live and your prayers, and something told me, get in there and take charge of this. He goes, and I did something that I'd never done before. I told everybody, hey, calm down. Hey, everybody come in right here. And they all looked at me. And my mom and dad looked at me. He's like, everybody grab a hand. And he goes, and they all looked at me like, what the hell are we doing? He's like, everybody grab a hand. He's like, even my mom and dad were like, what are we doing? He's like, we're going to pray. And everybody looked at her like, what? He's like, everybody grab a hand. We're going to pray. He goes, and I said a prayer at my brother's wedding, and took control of the situation, and it changed everything. It smoothed everything out. And people were looking at me like, where did that come from? Even my mom and dad. And I told my parents, about your podcast, about your live, and how you do this, and how it's changed me. And Ray, I've never done that in front of anybody. I've never done that with my parents. And you encouraged me to do stuff like that. You just being you, and having the conversations that you have here on your podcast, on your broadcast, like, you've encouraged me to be that person, and it works. It changed me. It helped me in that situation. Now he's like, now my mom asked me, hey, how's it things going on your friend's live broadcast? What's been going on? What have you guys been talking about? He goes, I want you to know how much of a difference you're making. And I'm not the only one. Because there are countless people that have come on here and have told you how you have changed their lives. And while he's saying this, I'm watching the chat. And people are like, Ray, I hope you understand. I hope you understand. I hope you see this. I hope you're listening to what he's saying. Because he's not the only one. You've helped me in this way. And people are just going through. And I'm sitting, dude, by this point, like, I'm literally, I'm not even looking at the screen. I put my head down, and I'm in tears. And he's like, he always calls me Big Dog. He's like, you're my boy Blue. And he's like, hey, Big Dog. He's like, don't cry, man, because you're going to make me cry. And I just wanted to tell you that This is one of my biggest victories because you helped change me as a person. You encouraged me to speak about the things that I struggle with. And not only that, for me to pray with my family. I've never done that before. And I'm doing that because you have encouraged me to do that. By just being who you are, being real, being authentic, being genuine. And I said, look, man, all I've ever wanted to do was help. I wanted God to use me to help people, to use my story to help people get through things that maybe they didn't think other people were going through. I wanted to be organic. I wanted it to be real, authentic. I said, there's another reason why I stopped doing music, because I felt like if I were to make it, I was going to be making money off being some artist with that artist name. And it started to not sit well with me. I mean, that's not the only reason why I stopped, because there was a myriad of other reasons why, but that was one of them. And as I've grown and changed my life and gotten older, I told myself, if I'm going to do something that's going to change people, that's going to grow a platform beyond what I thought it could be and actually make a living off of it, then I want to do it by being me, being exactly who I am. Not being an artist with an artist name, not being some person who's putting on some act. I want it to be somebody, I want it to be as I'm being, not somebody, but I'm being me. That I'm not just being some artist who's on a stage, putting on a show. I want it to be because I am being Ray Molina. There's no act, there's no nothing. I'm being Ray Molina. That's what I want it to be. That way, anytime I speak, anytime I go somewhere to speak, when I finish this book, it's authentically me. There is no frills, there's no fake, there's no nothing. There's no act. It's just me. So when I hear you say that tonight, it hits me in my heart, because this is what I've asked God for. This is what I've prayed for. And for it to be happening in real time, I'm overwhelmed, because you almost go through life because things don't happen fast enough and you think it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen until you just keep your nose to the grind. You keep going, you keep going, you keep going, and you trudge through the slow months. And then when the peaks come and then the valleys come, you just stay the course. And that's all I've been trying to tell myself, is stay the course. I am so thankful for anybody who has listened to this podcast and felt like it has helped change them. Because I started this podcast as a fucking wreck. I was a complete wreck. When I did that first episode in 2020, I must have re-recorded that thing 10, 15 times. But I started this thing as a complete wreck. It was almost like just going to be an online journal of my life. And then I realized it was going to turn into more than that, because I realized there were so many things that I had opinions on and things that I had gone through that maybe I should share because other people are going through them and maybe need to hear that. But when I started this thing, I was a mess. That's why it's called The Perfect Mess. And to be almost 300 episodes in, and to be right here, and to now start seeing and hearing from people how it's affecting them, I thank God because it's what I've been working so hard for. And yeah, it's not paying the bills or anything right now, but it could. That's up to God. It could. Right now, the payment is the feedback from people I've never met. The payment is people coming and saying, "Hey, this changed in my life because I spoke to you, or because I listened to your podcast, or because I got a chance to go live with you on TikTok." That's the payment. And right now, I'll take it. I wanted to share that story with you guys because if you're trying to move forward and do something and make change, and you feel like maybe your message isn't hitting home, stay the course. Stay the course. If you're serious about it, stay the course. And I promise you, man, at some point you will see a breakthrough. Things will start to change, but you can't give up. You can't stop when things get hard, or when things slow down, or when the numbers don't look right. You got to continue to go through every single day and push. It's not easy, but if you want it, you can do it. I love you guys, man. I appreciate you listening to me every single day. I know I like to talk a lot, but I appreciate you, man. Every single one of you listening or watching right now. Thank you so much for supporting everything that I do with The Perfect Mess. But I also thank you for coming back around and sharing stories of how what I'm doing has helped change your life. It means the world to me. Thank you so much. Like I always say, my life isn't perfect. Oftentimes it is a mess, but for me, it is the perfect mess. I love you. God bless you. Please tell the people that you love them, and I will catch you on the flip side. Peace.